What is the antidote to awkwardness coming up in this video? What's up, legend? It's Sherman here from Geek Psychology, where I help geeks, gamers, and creatives to have more confidence and motivation. And knowing yourself is such a big part of the process. I messed up a couple times when I was starting this video, and that's okay. It was a little awkward. It was a lot awkward, but I'm okay with that. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video. I want to give you 4 different points that will help you understand what to do about awkwardness and why it might not be as bad of an issue as you think it is. And if you still think it is, then you can use these bits of advice to continue forward and stretch yourself to bigger and greater goals where you can retake control over your life and really live the life that you want to live. So the first thing is the antidote to awkwardness. Like, if you're thinking about it as an antidote, well, then you must think that it's a poison and that there's something wrong with you, that you are flawed, that you are broken, that you've ingested this idea into yourself, and that is causing you to behave awkwardly. So you might want to check the metaphors that you use because they really do shape how you experience life and how you deal with pretty much everything that you run into, and a lot of the metaphors that we use for one thing are kind of tied into the metaphors that expand out into other realms of our lives. So really be careful with the metaphors that you use and the words that you use. Even if you're thinking like, well, no, it's just a saying, it's just a phrase, it's just a word. Well, it's not. I'm just gonna stare at the camera. So the first actual thing that you can bring into here is that it takes a lot of awkwardness to to get past feeling awkward. Just throw yourself into the deep end. Enjoy that metaphor, and really just experience how awkward it can be intentionally. Milton Erickson used to tell people to do the thing that they intentionally wanted to not do. Like if they're struggling with wetting the bed or something, like Milton Erickson's, he was a very well-known, probably the best hypnotist. So yeah, take that as you want. But he used to tell people, he used to prescribe the problem essentially as the solution. So if somebody's like wetting the bed and they want to stop, then he would say, okay, for the next 7 days, you're going to intentionally pee the bed. And then they kind of like build this resistance to it, and they build a little bit more control around it, and they're like, no, actually that's not what I want to do, because I've intentionally done it. I know that I have some control over the situation and I can solve it. Like same with weight gain and weight loss. Like if somebody wants to lose 30 pounds or whatever it is, and you tell them to intentionally gain 7 pounds and come back to me, when they do that, they've gained control over the situation. So if you intentionally go in there and be like, I'm going to make this situation awkward, and I don't care, we're going to see what happens. It's going to create different dynamics within yourself, and you might actually have some fun in the process too, because it's pretty fun to make people feel uncomfortable. And with that comes that there's more knowledge and patterns to pull from the more that you get out there. So like, put yourself into more social situations, and you're going to start glimpsing these patterns of like, well, what would somebody possibly say if I do this thing? Like, what are the general conversations, the topics that are going to come up? What's something that like everybody just always seems to talk about, and it's really boring and I don't care about it, but these are the things that come up. So let me kind of weave those into the conversations, because that becomes like a territory that you've explored more and that you've gained more control over because of your experience within that situation, right? The more experience you have, the more patterns that you've connected already before going into the situation, the more comfortable you're going to be. Like if you imagine like a an athlete or something like that, like they've practiced, they've played so many times. So whatever comes, they're going to be able to deal with that and bob and weave or do whatever sports lingo thing that they do because they've experienced it so many times that it's like, yeah, this is a thing that happens. I've dealt with it before. Okay, it's fine. I've got these like canned responses. I've got these things to talk about in relation to that. Another one is take in confidence that it doesn't matter how awkward you are. Like, who are you trying to impress? What's the intention behind all this stuff? Is it just to make yourself feel like you are worthy and valuable? Because if it is, then you might want to deal with that stuff first internally, clear it out through emotional, freedom technique or hypnosis, coaching, getting to understand yourself at a deeper level through cognitive functions or Enneagram or whatever it is. And just really understand that, like, it doesn't matter too much. What's that one girl's name that's like really awkward? It's got like the deadpan face. I'm sure you'll write it in the comments, but like there are so many that are just odd, and that's fine. And there's like a little bit of charm within that too, because people are like, wow, this person's this person's unique. This person's got some flavor to them, or no flavor to them, which is kind of interesting as well. Like, enjoy that it's not that big of a deal, and just say it's being you. As long as you're going to be you, as long as you're entertained, as long as you're doing the things that you like to do and that you want to do, then it's fine. And if you are intentionally trying to be less awkward because you want to be more social and things like that, and there's another aspiration on it, remember the previous 2 points. And I think the last one that's really important is the neurolinguistic programming concept of uptime as opposed to downtime. This one's, it's hard for me, but it has given me a lot of positive benefits. So let me just briefly explain it as uptime is being outside of yourself in here. So it's living in the extroverted world. It's taking in all the stuff outside yourself and reacting to that as it comes up, and that's fine, doing whatever it is. So uptime is dealing with whatever's happening outside of yourself. Without going inward, without thinking, oh, am I being awkward in this situation? Am I saying something that's strange? Is everybody looking at me? It's out of this. Just get out of there and deal with the stuff that's actually happening in the real world outside yourself. And you're going to be less awkward because you're forced to deal with that stuff instead of like this overthinking loop that just constantly plays, where you're just overanalyzing every single action that you're taking way more than anybody else is. So get outside yourself, get outside of your head. And one way of doing that is to just say, this person in front of me, this person is fascinating. I just want to know more about them. Like, and not in a creepy stalker way, not like leaning in too far and hey, but just to be genuinely interested in them, and just like, who is this person? What kind of stories do they have? What kind of cool things have they experienced? What kind of thoughts go through their head? Like, even if you think that they might be boring, that's you going on in here. Like, push it out there and say, like, let me find the interesting trait about this person and really listen to them and pay attention to them and bond with them as a human being. And you're going to get past a lot of that awkwardness, because then you're no longer thinking about stuff from your own perspective, me, but you're giving to the world. So first up, check your metaphors. Next, a lot of awkward times. Next, more knowledge and powers patterns to pull from. Next, confidence that it doesn't really matter how awkward you are, as long as you're happy with yourself, and you don't need to judge that based off other people's opinions or your opinions, thinking about what other people might be thinking. And the last one is more uptime, more extroverted time, getting out there and just dealing with things as they come up and getting out of your own head and overthinking. I hope this video helped. If it did, let me know down below in the comments what was important to you, what stood out for you, to you, and what you're going to bring into your next interaction so that uh, you can heal up and get that antidote for being awkward. Keep up the lifelong questing. Good luck, have fun. Peace. Maybe I should just put like a bunch of awkward clips in. La 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 la. Hum. That's not awkward. What do I?